The Fortnight of the Apocalypse, Special Chapter, Cayenne's Ordeal. And this is a story that took place 13 years before the current events. And we start seeing the happy moment of a mother and a father with their little child. This was the living portrait of a family at its best. By nature, the boy looked very much like his father, intelligent and serious. And also like his mother, he possessed a gentle and kind nature. His name was Cayenne, 3 years old. This was a time when parents had a significant influence on the formation of their children's personality. However, suddenly, in the Lyonesse castle, everyone is surprised by the screams of someone who says, Cayenne has been kidnapped. And when the little Cayenne wakes up, he realizes that there is a person right in front of him who says, "So you finally woke up, my little Cayenne?" And confused he asks, "It's you, mommy." And that person answers back, "That's right, from today on I will be your new mother." That was the sorceress Vivian, who once planned to terrorize and manipulate Gil Thunder and take him for herself. "I want you to stay with me forever," Vivian said to the little Cayenne. However, even though he was still a child, he already understood the situation perfectly. Therefore, he already knew that he would not be able to escape from that adult woman. And Vivian was fascinated, delighted that the little Cayenne looked so much like the little Gil. And treating him as her own son, she gave him new clothes and all the care and attention a real mother could give him. However, in Cayenne's mind there was only one thing: to escape from this obsessive attachment and her magical powers. I have no choice but to wait for the opportunity to escape without having to fight her. Meanwhile, the kingdom was in turmoil for a while and a large search party was sent out. But the search met a dead end for lack of clues, and so 5 years passed in the blink of an eye. But even after all this time, little Cayenne still hadn't given up, and kept thinking of a way to escape even if it wasn't easy, especially when the obstacle was a rocky hill that looked like a rat's nest, and Cayenne believed he would never be able to climb it. And in the evening the large oak door was closed. Cayenne then returns home, and tells his mother, in quotes, that he has collected a witch's glove and the eggs. And Vivian thanks him, saying that he is a good boy. Curious Cayenne asks Vivian what kind of magic she is doing now. And Vivian answers that it is a curse that causes certain men to have serious back problems. And she ends up collapsing, saying that she loved this person the same way she once loved her father. But in the end, she discovered that he loved his dead wife much more than she did. And surprised, Cayenne then asks what was the last magic she cast before this. And Vivian recalls that the last time she followed the advice of a certain man, helped him to overthrow the kingdom. But in the end he failed. Also, she confesses that against her will she had to separate from Gil, from Cayenne's father, and that was torturing for her. And that is why she then put a curse on him so that he would never be successful with women again for the rest of his life. And before Cayenne gets scared, Vivian asks him not to worry, because he was Mama's favorite person, her little Cayenne. And the boy with a smile on his face says he is very happy to hear this. And while Vivian continues with her curse, the boy changes his face, and says that that old hag is very treacherous. Living alone for so long with the emotionally unstable and wicked Vivian, has influenced the young Cayenne in a negative way. "What the hell? Why did she have to send me to look for something in the warehouse?" said Cayenne, who was very angry, and because of this, he ends up getting careless and knocking over the candle she was holding. And angry, he shouts for the candle's flame not to go out. And when he says begging for it not to go out, something unusual happens. That flame takes on a strange form, which Cayenne questions looks like a lizard. However, according to Vivian, who suddenly appears, it is a salamander, a fire elemental spirit. and that this could only mean that little Cayenne had the gift to manipulate the spiritual arts. And so Vivian decides to dedicate part of his time to train little Cayenne to make him his successor. But for Cayenne, this was the opportunity he had been waiting for, to be able to escape from Vivian with his own strength. So he would dedicate himself to mastering the control of the spiritual arts. And so another year passed. And while Vivian slept, Cayenne finally decided to act. That was the moment, the day to finally escape. The little boy invokes one of his elementals, Sylph, the elemental spirit of wind, and commands her to do now. And suddenly Vivian begins to struggle, for she could no longer breathe. And realizing that it was Cayenne who did this to her, she asks how and why. But the smiling boy just replies, "Just enjoy the 6 years of suffering that I have spent by your side, you old cursed woman." And after taking revenge on Vivian, Cayenne invokes the elemental spirit of fire, the salamander. And in a few seconds, he explodes the big wooden door. The door to his freedom was open. And finally, the last of his obstacles, Cayenne now invokes Gnome, his elemental spirit of the earth. And with her help he finally reaches the top of that place, to finally see the world again. Cayenne can't believe that he made it, that he was finally free, and he is very happy about it. However, he soon hears voices of people who were down there. Cayenne wastes no time and goes to meet these people. When they see him, they start to ask him several worried questions. Are you lost? Are you alone? Where are your parents? But the only one Cayenne says is, bow your heads to me because I am the son of the Holy Knight of Lion, Gilthunder, and the first Princess of Lion, Margaret. And this is how the three of them met. Cayenne turned 9 and returned to the kingdom to live a peaceful life with his father and mother. However, he would be kidnapped again by Vivian a few years later, but this time his savior was Tristan, and it was from this moment on that he came to idolize Tristan, but that is another story. Cayenne, Isolde and Jade, the relationship between the three of Tristan's platoon started here. Cayenne's mysterious past began to be revealed. And people continue in chapter 108, The Beast of Disaster.